The 2025 Texas Rangers made me believe that anything is possible, but not in an inspiring way.
You are Locked On Rangers, your daily Texas Rangers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are locked onto the Texas Rangers, the first and best daily Rangers podcast. I'm Bryce Paddock, a cripplingly addicted Texas Rangers fan, covering this team for 12 seasons, including all 7 as the founder and host of this podcast. Thank you all so much for making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. If you're not already, you can follow me on Twitter at Bryce Paddock. You can follow the show at Locked On Rangers. Hit subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform and on YouTube, where the best way you can help grow the show is to comment nearly any single thing below. Actually, the best way you could help grow the show is to not go on a 7-game losing streak, but I don't think you, the listener, have any control over that. Otherwise, I think you probably also would not want this team to go on a 7-game losing streak when they are in the middle, or were at the start of it, in the middle of a postseason chase. On today's show, we're talking about this weekend series getting swept by the Marlins and why rock bottom is no longer rock bottom. There's just a rocker bottomer. Sorry, I didn't mean to throw Kumar Rocker in the middle of that metaphor, but my goodness, because he has had nothing to do with this 7-game skid. Before we get into all that, this episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. Go to 5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. Now, this weekend, the Texas Rangers allegedly played some baseball. Well, Tyler Mahle played some baseball, because that and Wyatt Langford's game on Sunday, the only game that he played in this weekend after dealing with left side tightness, that thankfully didn't, at least for now, it hasn't required a 10-day IL stint, because my goodness, that would be incredibly bleak for the final 6 games of the season. The Rangers have an off day to ponder what's the point of the rest of this season, because after the Rangers won the first 2 games of that series against the Mets, they have not won since. It has been over a week. It will now be, I believe, at least 10 days in between wins, should the Rangers even win on Tuesday against a really terrible, hapless Minnesota Twins team that is 3-7 in their last 10 games. The exact same record in the last 10 games as the Texas Rangers, which includes a 3-game winning streak and a 7-game losing streak. Dropping 3 out of 3 games to the Miami Marlins at this point in the season, where, well, after that Tuesday game that the Rangers lost the series against the Astros, it felt like their postseason hopes were pretty much dead. After they got swept and they lost the tiebreaker, which they only had to win 1 game in Houston to get that tiebreaker, they could not do it. That was the real nail in the coffin. At that point, you're just playing for pride, because before this 7-game losing streak, the Rangers were 79-70, 9 games above 500, just 3 wins away. Just 3 wins away from at least a winning record this season. And at this point, they have to go 500 in their next final 6 games of the season to even get a winning record. And I'll be honest, I'm not sure if they're going to do that. They've got 3 games against the Guardians, which kind of means they almost have to sweep the hapless Minnesota Twins in order to do that. And this team ain't sweeping anybody. The brooms are away in the closet. They are locked up for the winter, because I don't know how many more wins this team has left in them. I don't know who's starting in this series starting on Tuesday. Heck, we didn't know who the starting pitcher was for the final 2 games of this series until the day of, which just feels odd. It feels very confusing. The Rangers didn't announce that Jack Leiter was going to start on Saturday until the day of, and that Merrill Kelly wasn't going to start until Sunday, until the day of. That's not normal. They're just like, I don't know, whoever. You feeling up for it today, Jack? Yeah, I could go. All right, we're going to throw Jack out there today. Merrill, you good to go? I guess I could go, but let's throw him out there. That's the kind of energy it felt like in this series. The Rangers, had they just scored 2 runs in the regulation 9 innings on Friday's game, where Tyler Mahle, who I do want to give a lot of flowers to. I mean, this was a bad season for the Texas Rangers in general. Overall, it's going to look awful. There were some bright spots for sure. I mean, Nathan Eovaldi being an absolute boss for the 130 innings that he pitched this year was incredible. Jacob deGrom pitching 29 games and over 160 innings, nearly 170. That's fantastic after missing most of the last 3-4 years. That is incredibly difficult to do, and a huge testament to the work that he's put in over the last couple of years. That's awesome. Wyatt Langford being a 5-win player in his second season in the big leagues, just 2 years after being drafted. That's awesome. That's truly awesome. But overall this year, there's not a whole lot of highlights to point out on the overall season. Tyler Mahle is definitely one of them. He made himself probably a lot of money for this offseason, signing that 2-year deal with the Rangers ahead of the 2024 season after the Rangers won that World Series. And he didn't pitch much in 2024, which was the expectation, probably a little bit less than even the minimal expectation since he was coming back from Tommy John surgery. He had 3 starts and then dealt with shoulder fatigue, which is what they're calling what he has been dealing with for the last 3 months. He hadn't pitched in 3 months. He came out there and he looked awesome. 4 2/3 innings of shutout baseball, only 1 walk, only 4 hits allowed, worked around a little bit of trouble, but struck out 6 batters, lowered his season ERA down to 2.20. He might have maybe one last start this season in him, a little bit lower on the pitch count than I thought that we would get from him. I mean, he was supposed to be built back up to 75, 80 pitches out there. And well, that was not the case. He only went 68 pitches in this one, didn't get through 5 innings. Otherwise, I was going to say he would be credited with the win had the Rangers not blown yet another lead. But against Jansen Junk, a guy with after 7 innings of 1-run ball, a 4.27 ERA, they couldn't get 2 runs against him. They got 3 hits, and the only run that they scored was lucky, incredibly lucky bounce on Josh Young after 3 straight really bad play appearances, his included. Jock Peterson leads off with a double because Jock Peterson is leading off for some reason. But he leads off that inning with a well-struck double, leading off in the final 2 games of the series. Not in that one, but just happened to lead off that inning. But again, they get a runner to second base, and the only good at-bat there was, we got Adolis Garcia hitting a ball pretty hard to the second baseman that got Jock Peterson to third base, where Jonaheim takes a breaking ball right down the middle of the plate and then chases out of the zone, hits a weak grounder to the second baseman that isn't even weak enough to get the runner home from third with less than 2 outs. And then Josh Young takes a breaking ball right down the middle of the plate for strike 1, a free strike 1, which the Rangers were giving away ad nauseum this entire weekend, and then chases a pitch that would have hit him in the shin had he been a left-handed batter. And it just happens to bounce perfectly along that third baseline and stay fair. And so the run comes home. The Rangers get their 1 run. But of course, they cannot hold it because the Rangers just have not been able to hold leads really for so much of this season until they put Sean Armstrong in that closer's role. I mean, the closer job has just been such a mess all season long, and the offense has been such a mess all season long. And while the Rangers gave up a couple runs in that 10th inning, they were able to get them right back with a massive Rowdy Tellez pinch hit 2-run homer. Would have been nice for him to do that a little bit earlier in this season, maybe in some more crucial spots in the midst of this 7-game losing streak. But alas, Rowdy Tellez was not the reason the Rangers lost this game. There were so many other reasons why the Rangers lost this game and other games, and it just leaves them in such an incredible heap of a pile of a team. It is just, I have never seen such a substantive collapse with a team with postseason hopes in just such a short amount of time, where the Rangers aren't technically eliminated just yet, but their magic number to be eliminated is just 1 more loss. And the way they're playing right now, it's going to take 1 game to get that 1 loss. This show is brought to you by Zippix Toothpicks. Whether you're looking for nicotine satisfaction or an energy boost, Zippix has you covered with their nicotine and caffeine-infused toothpicks. For nicotine users, Zippix provides a discreet way to satisfy the cravings and the hand-to-mouth habit without vaping or smoking. Zippix can be a helpful tool to help you work to reduce your dependence on vaping. Available in 6 great flavors with 2 milligram and 3 milligram nicotine options. And if you need an energy without the crash, their caffeine toothpicks are a game changer. I've used the caffeine toothpicks for big meetings and long drives, and they give me energy without the jitters. And the flavors like peppermint watermelon ice actually taste fantastic. So go to ZippixToothpicks.com, use code LOCKEDON for 10% off your first order. Must be 21 or older to order. Warning, nicotine is an addictive chemical. That's ZippixToothpicks.com, promo code LOCKEDON. Zip more, smoke less with Zippix Toothpicks. The show is also brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5 Hour Energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and 0 crashes. What I love most is how portable they are. Big taste, tiny shot. You can take it anywhere and get that boost whenever you need it. It is just so easy to carry around in your backpack, in your pocket, no matter where you're needing that extra boost of energy. If you are just exhausted after watching a full season of Texas Rangers baseball and you need some 5 Hour Energy shots to get you across the finish line, it is the perfect way to get that energy boost. Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. Get the favorites you love or be bold and try something new in store and online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. Shout out to the Everydayers making Locked On Ranger first listen every single day. After every single game, you've got Jeff Biggs with you with the Locked On Rangers postcast, reacting live to all 6 remaining games and the 0 postseason games that this stinking team is going to play live in your Locked On Rangers podcast feeds on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Now, my goodness, this was just such a frustrating weekend. The Rangers were so darn close, and you can look to the injuries that the Rangers had to some of their superstars in the last 3 weeks or so, basically since that series against Kansas City where they lost both Marcus Semien and Evan Carter for the year. Marcus Semien working his way back, but there's no way in heck he's coming back for this season. He absolutely should not be hustling himself back because unless he comes back literally Tuesday, which seems like a very bad idea, you definitely don't want to make that broken foot even worse. The Rangers postseason hopes are done. They are absolutely dead, dunzo, kablooey. Corey Seager getting an appendectomy at the worst possible time. Not Corey Seager's fault. It's just appendices be appendixing. And what they actually do, but nothing. They just explode at the worst possible times to derail what could have been a very, very nice season. And Nathan Eovaldi's shoulder just giving way at the worst possible time. It is just such unfortunate timing. Maybe Tyler Mahle could have been back a month ago. Had he been, maybe this team looks different. Maybe their postseason chances look a little bit different. But I mean, my goodness, I don't know what Tyler Mahle's contract this offseason is going to look like. If the Rangers are going to kick the tires on him, I'd imagine there's some interest there because when he's on the mound and when he's pitching, he's really darn good, or he has been this year, not so much last year. But when at any given time, you can just be out for literally half the season, 3 months. He's been out since June. This was 3 months of the season that he's just gonzo. And then he comes back and looks awesome. That makes life a lot more difficult when you want to invest or make your baseballing life a little bit more difficult, your team a little bit more difficult if you want to invest a significant chunk of change into Tyler Mahle. Now, this was his first full season back from Tommy John surgery, so that it makes sense that there would be a little bit of, rust in terms of the durability. He made 15 starts this year, and he's at 81 and 2/3 innings on the year. He's not going to make it to 90. He might make it to 85 if he makes another start. And you have 85 innings with a 2.2 ERA. That's nearly a 2-WAR player. I mean, the Rangers he's 6-3 on the season. The Rangers have won much more games that they have lost with Tyler Mahle on the mound, or at least had chances to win a whole lot more games than they've lost. But it's so easy to just look at this 7-game losing streak as like, oh well, they were in it. They had a chance. They could have done this, but they should have done this a long time ago. If the offense hadn't been horrendous for the first month of the season, this team builds themselves up to a pretty good lead in the AL West. If they hadn't had such, terrible lows in, the early June and at points in July and even at points in August that were just really rough. Had this offense just been consistently okay all year long, with this pitching staff, this team should have had this division wrapped up, even with the Mariners' just massive win streak over the last 3 weeks or so, where they've been just basically unbeatable. The Rangers should have run away with this division. Now, maybe they would have played the Mariners in the postseason and lost anyway, but those games would have been in Arlington had the Rangers done their job and played as well as they should have, as well as they almost did, as well as it looks like they did on paper all season long, and not put themselves in a position where, even with these crucial injuries to some incredibly talented players, they would be able to survive it. They would be able to be without Corey Seager for 3-4 weeks and not completely created, be without Evan Carter for a month plus at this point. I mean, really frustrating break for Evan Carter, who, had they lost one fewer of these guys, I think at least hitting wise, it would have been a different story. Had Corey Seager not had the appendectomy, having that one extra bat, your best bat by far in this lineup for these last 7 games, maybe they only lose 2 of them. Maybe they only lose 3 of them. Maybe they only lose 4 of them, but they at least, finish off that sweep against the Mets or take 1 or 2 against the Astros. And, maybe they're still close to being in this ball game, because they wouldn't have been that far out of it had they lost, 2, 3 fewer games. Had they only lost 4 of their last 7 as opposed to 7 of their last 7, then they're 3 games out and they had the tiebreaker. Had one of those wins come against the Astros, they would have had the tiebreaker against Houston. They would have had a chance to, take down the Guardians, who are tied with the Astros for that final wild card spot after the Astros just got swept and pantsed in this series against the Seattle Mariners. But they're not. They are not in that spot. And they might not even have a winning record after all the winning months that they had, after all the winning they had done in stretches. I mean, the fact that this streak came right after the Rangers were on a 5-game winning streak, 6-game winning streak, against 3 teams that are in the postseason picture right now. Now, will 2 of those teams maybe fall out in the last 6 games? I'm hoping at least one of them does. I'm hoping really just one of them specifically does. And after sweeping the best team in baseball, this is just an absolutely confounding, maddening group of baseball humans. I mean, they are capable of anything. And I mean that in both the nicest and meanest way possible. They're capable of sweeping the best team in baseball with a ragtag bunch of misfit toys. At the Brewers' peak, the Brewers hadn't been swept since the first series of the season. And the Rangers did it with Michael Hellman going off like crazy, with Cody Freeman going nuts, with the best bounce back start from Merrill Kelly, who did not have a good bounce back start in this one, didn't bounce anywhere. I mean, Merrill Kelly overall, his tenure, that's going to look back and look like a terrible trade, especially if Mitch Bratt and Cole Drake both end up becoming quality big league pitchers. Like, I think they probably will. I mean, Kelly has just been rough this year. He's had some really good starts, like that start against Milwaukee. That was a really good bounce back start. He did still give up several runs. He has had some pretty good starts, but in the biggest games of the season, he pooped the bed. He pooped on that bed, especially against Houston. That start was truly terrible. This one was very not good. Starts against Arizona have not been good either. And it's tough. It is tough. The Rangers traded for him to be better than he was, and he just wasn't. He just wasn't in this season. Heck, even Jack Leiter had an okay start, but probably got left in there a batter too long, ends up with a 4 earned run day, and can't quite make it through 6. But it's not completely on him. I mean, the offense just did not show up this whole weekend outside of a couple of runs and extra innings in the 12th. I mean, it was close games by the end, but close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, and there is no horses or hand grenades to be found in this one. Just the only horse is the captain mascot, and hopefully nobody's throwing a hand grenade at him. That would be pretty rude. Just like it would be pretty rude to lose 7 straight games in this one. I mean, my goodness, rock bottom just does not feel possible because there are no heights nor depths that the Rangers cannot reach this season in 2025. This show is brought to you by Nutrafol. You've probably seen a million ads for hair growth products and thought, sure, I like that actually works. There's so many products out there, it's hard to know which ones are actually going to do anything. That's why you should give Nutrafol a closer look. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand trusted by over 1.5 million people. And it's not just hype. This is a supplement clinically tested that targets the root causes of thinning and shedding with a proactive approach. Whether you're at work, out with friends, or even just getting ready in the morning, Nutrafol gives you more confidence in your daily routine. And you can feel good about knowing Nutrafol is NSF certified and backed by peer-reviewed studies. See thicker, stronger hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering Locked On MLB listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code LOCKEDONMLB. The show is also brought to you by Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you could end up leaving money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives, so if you've put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, and get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. You can identify that you aren't saving as much as you thought. Monarch helps you notice inefficient investment allocation and discover forgotten 401ks from past jobs. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONMLB. Shout out to everybody for making Locked On Rangers your first and every single day. On tomorrow's show, I'll be back in I don't know what I'll be talking about. Something related to the 2024-25 Texas Rangers baseball team. We'll figure that out together in your Locked On Rangers podcast feeds tomorrow. Now, it puts this team in such a weird spot. I mean, honestly, on Friday's show, it took me a while to figure out what the heck am I even going to talk about with this team? I mean, what is left to say about the 2025 Texas Rangers baseball boys? It feels like I have said so much and so much of the same things about this Texas Rangers baseball squad in 2025. It's the pitching is good. The hitting is bad. It needs to be better. This team could be good. Maybe they're good. I think they're good. No, they're not. They're terrible. They're amazing. They're awful. I feel like I am just a person with multiple personalities. The way that this entire baseball season has made me feel the complete range of human emotion. Like this is what this season has done. Just the highest highs, the lowest lows, the most confounding, frustrating, repetitive mistakes that they just keep on making. And it makes me want to bash my head through a wall. I mean, that's how it's felt watching these last 7 games against teams that the Rangers could have and should have beaten. I mean, it was there. It was very much there in the grips. Watching, like looking at this baseball reference page for the 2025 Texas Rangers is going to be like staring at just into the abyss. Like that is what it feels like at this point. You're like, wow, this team had a lot of really good baseball players. How'd they not win more baseball games? And folks, I got to tell you, I have the answer. The answer is I don't know. That is the clinically tested, proven answer is shrug emoji. That is what makes the most sense to me. A person who has spent my entire career, more than a third of my life professionally, trying to understand predict, analyze, grasp at straws to understand an ununderstandable game, a completely ununderstandable game. And this team, while baseball has confounded me multiple times, I have made so many predictions and so few of them right. The only one that has ever really been truly right is me picking the Rangers to win the World Series ahead of the 2023 postseason based on literally nothing but, I don't know, maybe they could do it. That was my entire rationalization. And that was when I was right. That's the one time I was right trying to predict baseball. Was like, I don't know. It would make no sense if this team won the World Series, but yeah, they've got no momentum. They're heading across the country. They're pissed. They have been kind of awful at times for 6 weeks, but like, what if? Maybe Nathan Eovaldi is good in the postseason. Corey Seager's got a World Series MVP. I feel good about Adolis Garcia in the postseason and the vibes they've got, even though the vibes were terrible at that exact moment. I thought, yeah, what if Jordan Montgomery has the best, 5-start stretch of his entire freaking life at the most important moments? What if Josh Boers just goes nuclear for a month? What if Jose Leclerc, who has been so unpredictable and inconsistent, what if he just has the best month of his freaking life and just becomes basically untouchable against the best teams in baseball? What if he does that and Aroldis Chapman actually doesn't blow a big postseason game for the first playoff run in his history? And just all of that happened. And this year, I'm like, wow, this is the best pitching staff I've ever seen. These are a bunch of really, really talented hitters. What if they could kind of hit at the same time that they were pitching good? And they're like, hey, what if we didn't? Wouldn't it be cool if we didn't? And I said, no, that wouldn't be cool if you didn't. I am the most confounded and flabbergasted by this group of baseballing individuals. I mean, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think that understanding what's in the depths of the ocean is easier than understanding why this baseball team is the way that it is. I think understanding exactly the mechanics of the Big Bang and the ramifications of how, or whatever, however you believe the universe was created, scientifically, theologically, I think understanding God is more possible in its entirety than understanding why this baseball team is the way that it is. Maybe not that, but I think understanding how the moon revolves around the earth, how gravity works, how just the deepest mysteries of this entire universe, and if there are other universes found or unfound, I think that is more easily digestible, more teachable, more understandable, more comprehensible than why this team is the way it is. I truly think there is no mystery in this lifetime that is more unreachable than why are you like this, 2025 Texas Rangers? That's how I feel, because I have no logical answers. I have no illogical answers. I have no, conspiracy theories. I have nothing left to understand about this baseball team. They just are. Even when I said, what if I thought that I understood it like a week ago. I like, okay. Maybe it's 2 weeks ago. Okay, this team is just going to do the dumbest thing possible in any situation, and that's what they're going to do. And then they didn't do that. As soon as I figured out that trend, they're like, no, we got to switch it up. We got to do something more perplexing, more confusing, more flabbergasting. They want maximum flabbergasting, these 2025 Texas Rangers. I don't think they actually want it. I think that's just what they created. That is what they've done this season, is just defy expectations, and not in the nice way, but also not in the nice way. It just is. It's just a lack of words. That's what it is. It is that long pause. That's what this season is. It is that long pause of just a wrench in a garbage disposal, just rattling around, trying to comprehend what went wrong. And my goodness, do I feel for Chris Young this offseason, because I mean, what do you genuinely, what is the plan to fix this in one off season? I have no idea. I have no idea. People come up to me, not on the streets, but friends of mine who know that I cover baseball for a living, like, what happened to the Rangers? And I'm like, boy, if I knew, I would be in a front office fixing things. I'd be making a lot of money in a front office fixing this exact problem. But I do not have any clue. Do they go and sign some pitchers this offseason? I don't know. What bats do you sign? I don't know. Do you hope that everybody bounces back and is kind of healthy? Because if they do, then maybe they're kind of good next year. I genuinely have no clue how you go about fixing this exact thing because they had all the parts there that they needed. I wasn't sure that they did at the start of the season, but looking back at the totality of the season outside of the last 6 games, because who knows what's going to happen these next, they might win the next 6 games just for kicks and gigs and just throw a monkey wrench into everything that's happening there. I don't see that actually happening, but that has been the story of the season, is me not seeing something happening and then that exact thing happening about 3 seconds later. Because I don't know how you go about patching this. I'm going to spend a bunch of episodes this off season just being like, okay, maybe this works. Maybe you trade for this. Maybe you cut this. Maybe you go get that. Like my brain is like rattling around trying to understand any way to fix this because it looked for so much of this season so close. And yet, unfortunately, even with the best manager in the history of baseball, the most talented pitcher I've ever seen, and him being the second best starting pitcher on this squad, it still wasn't enough to get the job done. And it ends with just such a miserable fashion, making me think I don't know anything about ball. That's going to do it for today's show. Thank you all so much for listening and subscribing. And until next time, don't forget to enjoy the great mysteries of the 2025 Texas Rangers.